Gratitude is something that a lot of people get backwards. They try to think their way into feeling grateful, but the thing that actually changes everything is that we cannot think our way into it. We have to feel our way into it. And what I mean by that is, a lot of people will say, you want to use gratitude to manifest better things in your life, to improve your situation. So visualize your dream life, believe that it's possible, then work toward it, with vision boards and affirmations and things like that, right? But in my experience, putting your gratitude first, you are actually flipping this because you're including the vibrational aspect, that understanding that says you can't fake this belief. You cannot tell yourself, I'm going to have those things. You can only say, I really have this right now, and I want to truly feel appreciative for it. And that's the flip. This phenomenon goes deeper and it is way more impactful in all the things that you will see start to come to manifest in your life. All because you stayed focused on the gratitude first approach. And as mind, heart, spirit beings, when we feel our gratitude, that same meal, we really we enjoy that mouthful of food, or we see the sunset and we feel the welling up of amazement or whatever it is. When we're in that mode, our vibration is rippling. It's a vibration of gratitude that we're feeling in its fullness, and that touches the vibration of the universe. I just think it's beautiful. It mingles with God and it actually creates a flow of energy. And that is the work. That is the part that we're playing, where we are just focused on that vibrational action, what's going on in that moment of, I really feel it. And we're giving our attention to that. And so the next time, let's say you're enjoying your cup of coffee, or you're looking over at your spouse, or you're taking a deep breath in and just, absorbing a moment, looking at the ocean or whatever it is, or watching your fish tank, anything, I think it's important that we go from moving from ownership, where we think we have to have more stuff in order to be happy, and we realize it's about stewardship. It's about, what do I have right now, and become a true guardian of what already exists in your life. It's up to you to say, I want to make it special. I want to really see it, not just look at it, but see it, right? And so the magnification principle, which is the next aspect here, is that, your appreciation is actually going to create abundance. It's going to create more. But it's never from thinking. It's always about magnifying the gratitude feeling that you have. So this is where everything really comes together. And I call it the magnification principle, but I think it's a universal thing. It's just based on this simple truth, that having more is not about imagining stuff that you don't have. It's about magnifying right here, right now, what is current in your life. Even the most mundane things, magnifying whatever joy you gain from it, whatever satisfaction you feel, choosing appreciation and really being intentional about that. So think about it like this, right? Like, let's say we're outside in nature and we've gotten that science lesson where you take the magnifying glass and you put it over a leaf and you let the sun shine through the magnifying glass, right? And what's happening? You're watching that intensity start to really burn a hole in that leaf because of the sun. The sun is already there. That's the sun's energy. It's already there, and we're just focusing it. We're just concentrating it, and that's what's creating that impact, right? It's the same thing in how appreciation works in our lives. We are already having the ability to say, there's stuff in my life right here, right now. But we're taking this magnifying glass and we're saying, I want to magnify my appreciation of that. I want to magnify my attention to it. And by doing that, instead of focusing on what's missing, we're focusing on what is already here. It's a beautiful thing, and truly, it really changes how you are experiencing now, right here. So I know what some of you are thinking, well, what if my life really is mediocre? What if there's genuinely nothing worth appreciating? And, I guess at times, well, I'll feel that way. But here's what I've learned, okay? The feeling of mediocrity is never going to be about your circumstances. So again, it's still vibrational and it's still requiring a shift. And if you're struggling in just doing this work of magnifying your gratitude, then I want you to pause and I want you to say, Spirit, I need help with this. Do not beat yourself up for feeling like everything looks gray, everything looks blah, okay? Just know that in the mind, heart, spirit circuit, sometimes we really have a lot of blockage, a lot of pain and resentment or disappointment in life that we really feel like, I just can't see it. Yeah, okay, I appreciate the fact that, this car turns on and I can get to myself to play, but yeah, right? So the appreciation and the depth that you want to be impacting and really engaging with, if you're feeling like you can't quite feel it and you're like, no, my life is mediocre, then I want you to take that moment and return yourself again and again to saying, Spirit, I want to feel that. I crave that. Please help me with that. And I promise you, because you're starting from that place of mind, heart, spirit, vibration, and seeking for anything that is blocked to be cleared, it will start to feel different for you. So it's not true that, oh man, my life is the special life that doesn't have anything worth really appreciating. It's just that you might be vibrationally in that space of struggling, and just give yourself grace, give yourself credit, and do your best to keep bringing that into the mix with God and just saying, God, I need your help. And that is really going to change so much. So let me show you now, how does this work in real life, like in relationships, okay? When you start appreciating your partner for who they are, not for who they're not for the things that, somebody else, their partner is this or that. When you really just start to say, I'm grateful for what is, and maybe you don't like all of it, like, okay, they still do this really irritating thing, but what about all the things that don't irritate you? I mean, you've got to pull the things. Don't worry about the fact that yeah, but there's still this bothering me. Focus on the things that you can magnify, and you're going to see that even though nothing has changed, you will see things differently and they will show up differently. I promise you. And let's say in your career, when you appreciate, okay, these are skills that I'm developing, and you just remind yourself that instead of the things that I'm not getting, maybe a promotion or whatever it is within your career, you start to say, but I am becoming more valuable. I am continuing to become a fuller version of the expert that I want to be within this field. It could be your health that you're analyzing and you're trying to appreciate more, where you can just say, I'm going to stop hating my body for what it doesn't do or the setbacks that it's having. And instead, I am going to appreciate it, how it continues to try to adapt and how it continues to try and serve me. Even something like that makes a difference in how you magnify the gratitude for what is going well. And that wholeness that you will start to experience, that comes from within, right? I always say that here at the Balance Journey. So it's not about being broken and waiting to be fixed and finding external items and achievements in order to say, okay, now I have more wholeness. It's really that you are already complete, and the work is to magnify the completeness that's already in your life. And the beautiful truth is that as you do this practice, it really does fulfill more tangibly what is bringing you happiness. It's like saying to the universe, I really like that, because you're magnifying your gratitude for it, right? And then, wow, there's more of that in tangible stuff, more of that in the kinds of ways that you relate with people. You never can manipulate this process, but you can always say, but I want to humbly at least be grateful. And I'm just telling you, it will actually show up in fulfillment of tangible change that you're going to be surprised by and just amazed with. So it always will create more of what you appreciate. This is actually the magnification principle that I think is a universal phenomenon. It's going to really impact how you're going to experience things as you go. So let me give you simple 3-step magnification practice that you can apply in your daily life, okay? It's just going to start with a morning gratitude inventory, work on a midday appreciation check-in, and then an evening magnification reflection. So the idea is that, in the morning, even before you start your day, check your phone or whatever, you just take a moment to identify a few blessings in your life. You can either say, have I been overlooking something that what am I taking for granted? Or you might have something pop into your head right away. But no matter what it is, I want you to just feel how amazing those things are, because they are, and feel into that vibrationally, okay? You don't just think about them, you let that warmth actually fill you. And then midday, let's say, as life has been happening now for a few hours and you're like, oh, it's really hard, where comparison hits harder, because you're just exposed to so much more. I want you to catch yourself measuring your life against somebody else's and just redirect yourself and just say, okay, what's actually working right now in my life? What is working? What is good? And again, pay attention to that and then really feel into those things for yourself. Really just say, yeah, man, that's pretty damn good, and appreciate it. Pause and feel that appreciation. And then in the evening, just reflecting on, okay, how did this day go? And reflecting on the things that you paused and you enjoyed. And as you paused and you enjoyed, I hope you really breathed those things in, because as you do that, when you're reflecting later on, you might be washing the dishes or something, and you reflect on that moment when you were watching that butterfly just land on that flower, or whatever it is that you were in that moment of appreciation. You're going to actually be able to mentally return to it, and at the same time vibrationally feel again that sense of flow. And I think that's the beautiful thing, where as you take that time to reflect at the end of the day, you will repeat the magnification of those moments of appreciation. And if you feel like, man, I really sucked today, I didn't really catch myself, and so I didn't appreciate very much, then just again, come to spirit and just say, I know there are things I missed. I didn't really absorb with my physical senses, with my intention, but at the same time, thank you. Thank you for all the things that actually did come together for this day. And by doing that in your reflection, you're not beating yourself up for what you didn't pay attention to or notice. You're simply saying, even when I wasn't mindfully doing so, it was there for me, and I'm not going to take that for granted. Thank you very, very much. So in that sense, these 3 simple moments of redirecting our attention from what's missing to what's actually there, that's going to really make all the impact. And as I close now, I just want you to know that I hope to encourage you to magnify any glimmers of gratitude that do well up in your heart. It's not just a 3-step, morning, noon, and night kind of thing. It becomes an all the time thing. It becomes this is what I want to intend. And the more that we intend, the more we're going to do. We're going to catch ourselves saying, hey, I actually noticed that moment. And I actually breathed it in. I actually soaked it in. You will always work on the things that you need to improve in life, and I know you're going to do that. But this aspect of magnifying your gratitude is going to help you experience your life right here, right now, in a way that allows for nothing to have to really change, but for you to really receive and to start being more in that flow. So if this resonated with your journey of seeking wholeness and wanting to find your vibrational balance, then I really think the Balance Journey channel is for you. And I hope that you'll consider subscribing and joining our community, because that's what we're doing here. We're choosing inner healing over endless self-improvement and development. Your balance journey and my balance journey, it matters. And it's just right the way it is. We're not broken. We're not behind. We're exactly where we need to be.